beyond protests or vigils, the question is, are there some concrete things that we might be able to do? I know that Eric Holder is reviewing what happened down there, but I think it's important for people to have some clear expectations here. Traditionally, these are issues of state and local government. The criminal code and law enforcement is traditionally done at the state and local levels, not at the federal levels.
That was the President this afternoon suggesting a pathway forward in the aftermath of the trial of George Zimmerman. And joining us now, I'm delighted to say, is the attorney for the Trayvon Martin family, Darrell Parks. Mr. Parks, thank you so much for joining us. You've just told me that you were actually supposed to be in Canada, yes, speaking, so we're delighted that you're here. I have to ask you, what was your reaction to the President's statement?
Humbling. Martin, I think for most African Americans who live a life in America, our experience is a little different from other people. And so for the President, in his way, to address some of the things that people are feeling post-verdict was so important. I think that for the rest of the country, certainly what our legal system did was the legal system, and his comments were so appropriate how he put it in context. So he didn't make any comment about the jury, the lawyers, and the case. But after that, the people in this country feel a sense of emptiness. And it was so appropriate for him to respond to the people and to give them some hope. Because people need hope now and direction, and that's what presidents do.
It's also been the case, is it not, sir, that we have seen the two people most devastated by this incident, the parents of Trayvon Martin, who have somehow in their grief found the ability to talk about it, to engage in a conversation, to appear in interviews. Do you think the President, having seen the way they've conducted themselves, almost felt compelled that he had to say something?
I think he did. I think he probably didn't want to at first, but I think that the country has spoken. And it's amazing how after that verdict last Saturday night, I was there. Who would ever think that sometime after 10 o'clock that all the things that happened within 48 hours would have happened, the people feeling the way they were feeling. And certainly this case was very public. And so the world had a chance to see all of the evidence, to see the verdict rendered, but that didn't stop them how they felt about what happened. And so it is heartfelt that our president is feeling what we're feeling and has responded to that in the appropriate way.
Now, the parents of Trayvon Martin have just issued a statement in reaction to the president, and they say this, it reads in part, "Trayvon's life was cut short, but we hope that his legacy will make our communities a better place for generations to come. We applaud the President's call to action to bring communities together, to encourage an open and difficult dialogue." I have to say, sir, that from where I sit, I have 3 children. If someone killed one of my children, I do not think I would have it in me to be as gracious and as concerned about our community than I would be about the anger that would be dominating me. And yet here are your clients who speak with such grace.
Well, they have really leaned on God, Martin, in this situation, and God has kept them. And as you read the Bible, it says he will keep you if you want to be kept. And so they continue to pray that. And, as I watched them, they've been in New York the last couple of days and had some very hard questioning by many people in your profession about this situation. And they've been able to understand that this is bigger than them. And I think once a person gets to the point where they can look beyond themselves and look to God and look to how can it help other people, then you see the gravity of the situation and how it moves forward to help other people.
They're obviously very godly people. So what now? Because we know in this particular trial, the use of the Stand Your Ground law was not expedited for the purposes of these proceedings. And yet the President was very clear that he wants us to consider again whether these laws actually do anything for peace and tranquility in this country or whether they basically encourage violence.
Well, and the heart of it...
Is that your view?
Well, it's the self-defense laws. I think we use a stand your ground context, but it's the total self-defense views that we have in this country, and we have to have a bigger dialogue about it. And we just seen also what the governor of Florida has issued that he still believes that the stand your ground doesn't apply. Well, I think that we're going to have to ask the governor to rethink that, because we have to do things that make all people feel safe. And we've talked with the governor in the last couple of days. And
you personally have?
Yes, we've talked to him.
And how has he reacted?
And I think he understands that we have to have some type of dialogue about how we make our children feel safe. Now, that may include many different things, but that's a dialogue that we have to have.
The president also spoke about the need for law enforcement and training, and he referenced his own experience in Illinois, where he introduced certain training strategies to help people understand their own inward feelings about race and so on. Is that something that you would support and encourage across the nation?
You have to. I think a big part of it is just we have to get to know each other. And so often across the country, you see some police departments realize that they have to reach into the community and get to know their communities in order to better police them. When you have situations where people don't know each other, for example, when you think about the Trayvon Martin situation, just a small fact, when Detective Sereno asked him, "Did you identify yourself to Trayvon Martin?" And he said he didn't. That's important because maybe had he said who he was, Trayvon Martin would have responded to him in a different way.
Indeed, he may have done.
Yes.
Darrell Parks, attorney for Trayvon Martin's family. Thank you, sir, so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Coming up, the historical context for today's historical moment at the White House.
Da 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 da.